Okay, what the fuck is a murder drones? It's a little complicated to explain. Ah yes, Murder Drones, the animated web series made by Glitch Animations and directed by Leon Vickers, who no one has ever heard about in my channel before. And to be fair, it's not that I'm like familiar with his works previous before watching Murder Drones, besides of a little series that everyone knew back then in the years, I guess.
Back to the cliffs with you.
Waylon, my dad needs you.
Oh, Joe, watch out!
Scary.
Yeah, so this is Cliffside. Ah yes, now this is something that I remember. This is the first piece of media I ever consumed that came from the hand of Leon Vickers. To keep it short and to avoid sharing my opinion on this matter early, Cliffside is an animated pilot for a series of the same name that follows the characters of Waylon, Joe, and Cody in the town of Cliffside, where monsters and death-defying stuff is a common occurrence at any day of the week. The plot of the pilot mostly goes on and about Waylon doing Waylon stuff that eventually ends up in a problem that involves everyone. It is mostly probable that the series is gonna follow the same set of steps for its episodes, but no one really has a clear idea of this because this is all we have about the series. Yup, despite all the positive reception from the public to the pilot really wasn't able to find someone that would help with the creation of the series, so Cliffside just stayed on the shelves. Well, that's it for that set of interesting characters. Oh boyo, if only there was more content that comes from the hand of this creator that we could munch on for the following years. Holy fucking hell! Internecion Cube is a series of small animes created by the same guy, Leon Vickers. Just to take note here, I don't want to say his name that much because I believe that I'm just murdering the heck out of the pronunciation of his name. The plot of the series now follows a set of main protagonists known as Max, Icon, and Kiri, who are mostly trying to take on the shadow government, emphasis on trying because it's the government they're fighting against us. Also because there are artists like them trying to hunt them down. And the biggest difference here between Internecion Cube and Cliffside is the fact that this time we actually got more than one episode! So I don't think I should really call them episodes since literally the first one is around 2 minutes. But who cares? We learned how to count to 3 with this. Wait, where's the 4? Oh, come on! Yup, once again, we're left in the dark spot of the room without content for a while. But to be honest, it was meant to happen sooner or later. Liam did explain that Internecion Cube was just a series of animatics and practice for his storytelling abilities between his schedule. Which is also something I should have said too, but I forgot. But yeah, the Internecion Cube wasn't this huge project that was being worked on behind the scenes to be up on the screens of your TV or something. It was just that. Practice. But practice always leads to a real thing. What is that real thing? Okay, I think everyone gets it by now. We're 3 minutes in the video and I haven't spoken a thing about Murder Drones, so let's start with something. Murder Drones is an animated series created by Leon Vickers but produced by Glitch Animations, with its first episode, also known as Pilot, released on October 29, 2021. The series got officially the green light sometime after, confirming an entire season of the series to be released on the following years. Yes, I said years because literally the second episode released a year later. The first season that consists of 8 episodes follows the story of Doorman. Okay, I gotta be honest in this part of the script. Talking about the Murder Drones lore is solving the Murder Drones lore. And solving this thing is not only a headache, but a spoiler. So I guess I shall skip that and still make up a small summary. The story of the pilot episode follows Uzi, the typical angsty high school teenager working drone who has an immense hate towards the disassembly drones that constantly hunt for them. After a few whoopsies, Uzi decides to take an upper hand against the disassembly drones with her railgun, while also looking for pieces to fix it on her way. That is until she meets face to face with a real disassembly drone. Never mind then. Never mind again, because surprise, surprise, these things don't die that easily. Believe me, that is the joke on this show. In a funny twist of events, the shot that this guy received was so that he got entirely rebooted. which allows us to meet and the not so murderous as others and quite friendly assembly drone that is part of the squad that is in charge of killing any roach AI that they find. After a proper introduction and a moment between Uzi and Ann, we get a short introduction to B, the paranoid and sadistically assembly drone of the team who Ann has a crush on, but from the looks of it...
So, V, I heard this planet-wide toxic death storm is supposed to be especially inhospitable tonight.
Oh God, who are you?
No worries, I'm N, but a whole letter is a lot to remember.
may not be reciprocated in this time. Then we have Jay, the bossy one in the team that would do anything to just stay loyal to the company, which is JC Jensen in space. Ooh, I don't really think I can say much about Jay despite the pilot episode being the one with the most lines out of her character. But, thankfully, I got an expert in the topic to give me his opinion, to which I'll pridefully read. After this little conversation the two have and thinking over the fact that the lamp on that end came from is actually a ship that could be used to go back to Earth, however, planning to exterminate all human gets cut shortly after the arrival of J and B, which after a bonk on the head of Fan later, they are able to catch on to Uzi, who is inevitably left to die by her own father.
Brandon.
And Ann is left to die because he wanted to know a bit too much. Well, now that both protagonists have lost their respective starter purposes, they finally decide to team up to fight up against the greatest evils. Murdering insane AI, and corporate expansion. Anywho, a blink and a... Later, Uzi confronts her father about, leaving her to die. And they decide to leave with B since Ann wasn't able to kill her, because...
My mind's in a weird place! Don't read into this!
Now under the control of two disassembly drones by her side, we get a glimpse of what could be next for our protagonist and a bit of craziness in it as well, because why not? And the camera finally zooms away as we get to see more land pods on their way, perhaps pointing to future. These land pods are never brought up again in a specific. And that's it for the pilot episode. It's honestly way better than I remembered. Just kidding, I haven't changed my mind about it since last year, and that is this is actually a really cool episode. Really, if I need to start talking about the pros of this episode and series in general, I have to admit that the pilot episode does a really good job on presenting the characters and how their dynamics go. I can confidently say that this general likeness I have towards the characters stays strong throughout the next episode of the series. And dear lord, don't even get me started with their designs. For the record, I have been a fan of Liam's art style for years. Ever since the day I saw Cliffside, or even Let's Split Up, I have been a sucker for his art style. Even if I did not consume most of his works after Cliffside because... I forgot. I have always recognized his art. Throughout all his works, we have mostly been able to see his style on 2D characters, but Murder sees 3D. That is a huge difference. Does it keep that iconic art style of his even on the turn? Yes, it fucking does! The design of the characters, dude, they're so good. We mostly only get to see drones on this series, duh, but they all find a way to have something that makes them memorable and not hard to watch for the human eye with intense colors or anything. I know it does not belong here, but the visuals get even better throughout the series, so believe me they do. And if seeing this little goober in all glorious 3D wasn't enough to think that Liam's art style presents the second dimension, I'm pleased to inform you that there's undeniable proof that this can happen later on in the series. Just what a great pilot episode, I can't honestly see why would people have a bad impression of this series since the very first episode. I gotta be honest here. There's more stuff that I dislike about Murderers in general than stuff that I actually like of the series. Although the following point that I'm about to mention is perhaps a problem that a small portion of people could have instead of a personal dislikes of the series I have. And it goes about how the series can be, a little explicit, a bit violent at points, nothing too heavy like...
No, don't you cry, and don't call Miriam, she's my alibi. Oh, let me check your toes out, aren't your toenails cute? And red is such a lovely color on you, but you won't be needing those when you've got no knees, or shins, or pinky fingers, or arteries. So
don't fight. Huh? Yeah, basically that. Despite the show just being funny silly little robots that fit on know that can only be acquired from other robots. Cannibalism riff. It could still be something gross or really heavy to look at for some people. So, I honestly understand if some people decide to avoid the show for this very same reason. However, the following points are more focused on what I actually dislike of this show. And what is the first thing that I actually dislike of this? Stop saying crazy shit, man! You're not being funny! The humor of this series can be unique, if that's the correct way to put it. Liam has a knack for using niche modern internet slang like cringe, beta, sim, meat, daddy issues. You get the jig. From Internecion Cube and all the way up to Murderers. Murderers is not really the kind of series that goes around dropping jokes every moment that they can, which I suppose is alright. But they do make sure to use internet slang every now and then, which sometimes can come off as weird and unexpected for some people. Funny enough, there was something I used to agree on. But 1 year later, after procrastinating on this video, I just came to terms that Murderers isn't really a series that tries to be funny or goes around clowning on stuff. Sure, there are small bits that go around the series, but they just come off as that and nothing else. I suppose that the rant here is more centered around how the dialogue is written throughout the series. And, well, yeah, the dialogue can be a bit for some people. I personally find it okay since I'm watching a web series about killer Roombas that consume all, not Dante's Inferno. Also, and finally, and this is something that connects with the previous topic of dialogue and humor, something that I truly dislike of this series, is just how badly organized this story is. I don't know if that makes sense. No, wait. I don't know if the Murderers plot makes sense. The pilot episode doesn't really follow much of a plot other than the one that is presented on the very same episode, which can count as an episodic adventure. But it does leave off some threads to follow, like the mysterious symbol on Issy's screen, or the arrival of more light pods. I know I can't really say much of the lore, even if it doesn't make sense, because it counts as spoilers. But I gotta make an exception here. This symbol is everything this series is about. And only one land pod is ever mentioned again after this episode. Not 3, not 2, just 1. Going back to the symbol, I just... a really small summary again. That is the basic plot for the following episode of the pilot. Lucy goes self-conscious about this funny little symbol that seems to appear on her every now and then, turning her objective from finding her way out of Copper 19 to try and figure out what is going on around her surroundings, with all of them eventually pointed her way back to this silly, stupid symbol. From wretched eldritch beings to a creature that only Lovecraft could ever dream of. All of this in Murderers! As long as you ignore continuity, pace, details, and other silly stuff that even I forgot. Seriously, I can't stress enough on how Murderers can feel so rushed at moments. And I guess it's easy to understand why, since this series is only 8 episodes long. The pace problem in this series is such that someone, and with the help of others, decided to storyboard a whole intermission episode that is set between episode 4 and episode 5. Which, by the way, said episodes are the ones that make the pace of the story feel so rushed in the first place. Mostly episode 4. I feel like episode 5 is too boring. Again, the series can be enjoyed if you're just in for the graphic content or the silly characters in wacky situations. Even if the convoluted plot gets on the way sometimes, it can still be enjoyed for some people in the public. Now, the big topic of the video. If you do plan on indulging in this little series, I advise you, warn you even, to be extremely careful with its fandom. Not that I want to put all of its community in this chaotic bubble, but I can't deny that a large part of the fandom of this series is a little... wild at first glance. So, if a new fan ever gets the idea of rummaging around the internet to perhaps find more content on their new favorite piece of media, they'll probably find themselves with the craziest out-of-context stuff ever seen in a fandom of 2024. Or, if said fan is lucky, he'll probably find some of the most known artists in the fandom, ranging in between content creators, writers, composers, and much, much more. I can't lie nor deny that the Murderers community comes with a ton of creativity and artistic talents. Not only that, there's a lot of friendly people in the fanbase that really helps improve the kind of damaged image this community has. Oh yeah, I forgot that I was actually speaking of the bad things. Yeah, so to not indulge too deep into the controversial stuff that has happened in this fanbase, I'll be just naming some of the biggest controversies, problems in this fandom. Harassment to artists, content creators, voice actors, harassment over fictional relationships within the characters of the series, implied self-harm over the end of the series, UTTP rates. There's a larger topic that really just follows another rabbit hole that I will not be discussing in this video, controversies around sexual content, and harassment that almost ended in someone taking their life. Yeah. You know, whenever I speak about murderers to my friends, I always find myself holding back from recommending it further on because of the fandom. I know that the fandom is not fully made out of bad people with terrible intentions. Heck, there's not really that much bad people in this fanbase. I just think that it's going through a phase that I would like to acknowledge as the Undertale phase! Sounds crazy, I know, but believe me, it makes sense. You can draw a lot of similarities between the 2016 era for the Undertale fandom to the Murderers fandom in 2023 or 2024. Like misinterpretation of the characters, sexualizing a shit ton of the characters, kids causing ship wars and harassing others over not agreeing with them, a hell ton of alternate universes, content farms. Okay, some of this, not to say the most, can actually be seen in a lot of other fandoms. But, dude, you gotta believe me, the link is right there, I just feel it! Either that, or it's the PTSD of the Undertale fandom. Alright, that seems to be kind of all the things that I disliked or liked, to which now I feel like I can drop the verdict about. Should you watch Murder? Yeah, despite everything I had to say, I still feel like recommending the series. Again, it counts with quite the hard to ignore flaws, but I don't think that ever stopped me from waiting and watching the next episode. All of my opinions about the series only really surge every time a lapse of wait happened between the episodes. And really, the only thing that I can say I dislike about the series is just the fandom. And I don't even fully dislike it because I know there's generally good people in this community. This takes me to the slight detail of my verdict. Do not interact with the fandom if you just plan on checking the series out. You could technically watch from the distance like I mostly do, but it could probably affect the way you look at the series. And if you do plan on indulging in the fandom, then just be extremely careful. There could still exist a misfortune of finding yourself with the wrong kind of people in this fanbase if you don't stay alert. That's if the ending didn't take all the bad people away from the fanbase. Yes, it's true, this war is not scripted, this is something I had to add because I only have 17 hours before the final episode of the series drops. It's now or never, this is your chance to experience the greatest joy of the fandom, the biggest misery in the interim life, a pain only a fandom of this size could experience, the absolute end! Seriously, if you want to slightly experience the feeling of watching the series from the very beginning to the end, this might be your chance. This video was originally meant to be uploaded way long before the episode 6 of this series dropped, but yeah, don't procrastinate kids, please don't, it'll destroy your life if you do. By the time this video is dropping, it should be releasing in the following 5-7 hours perhaps, or you could also wait for the hype to calm down and enjoy the full series some days after. I'm pretty sure the community of this series won't die from night to day, but it'll surely settle down in silence after this. So make sure to choose to your liking. Anyways, I think that's everything I have to say. I honestly wish I could say more, but I made this video with the title of Should You Watch Murderers, not the Murderers retrospective. I can't deny that I would like to just keep blabbering and blabbering about the story of Liam's works and a bit more of Murderers in details and with spoilers. But I have been in this video for 1 year now, and it's only a few months for me before I get tired of working the same video. Perhaps in the late future? I don't know, man, I've done enough today. Watch Murderers. Don't like it? Okay. Like it? Good. That's if the ending didn't take all the bad people away from the fanbase. No, no, Banan! Banan!